Dr. Emily Parker rubbed her tired eyes as she stared at the computer screen. The clock on the wall showed 3 a.m., but she couldn't leave. Something wasn't right with the data coming from the deep space monitors. She took another sip of her cold coffee and looked closer at the strange readings coming from beyond Pluto. "James, come look at this," she called to her colleague, Dr. James Miller, who was dozing in his chair nearby. "These signals aren't natural." James walked over, straightening his glasses. "What do you mean?" "Look at the pattern. It's too regular, too precise." Emily pointed to the repeating waves on her screen. The Nevada Deep Space Monitoring Station had never picked up anything like this before. James leaned in closer, sleep forgotten. "Run it through the pattern recognition software again." Emily did as he suggested. The computer beeped, confirming what she already knew. These signals were artificial. Someone, or something, was out there. "We need to call Director Thompson," James said, reaching for the phone. Within an hour, the quiet station became a hub of activity. Scientists rushed back and forth, checking and double-checking the data. Military officers in neat uniforms appeared, their faces serious as they looked at the readings. Director Thompson, a tall man with gray hair, stood behind Emily. "Dr. Parker, what exactly are we looking at?" "Sir, these signals show movement. Large objects, moving fast, heading toward our solar system." Emily pulled up a new screen. "Based on their speed and direction, they'll reach Pluto in 2 weeks. Could it be asteroids?" Thompson asked, though his tone suggested he already knew the answer. "No, sir." Emily shook her head. "They're changing direction. Asteroids don't do that." The room fell silent. Everyone understood what this meant. They weren't alone in the universe anymore. Over the next few days, the station worked around the clock. Emily and James barely slept, monitoring the signals constantly. Then, on the 4th day, they got the first pictures. The images came from their most powerful telescope. They showed massive ships, each one bigger than anything humans had ever built. Their dark metal surfaces reflected no light, making them look like moving holes in space. Emily counted 12 ships in the formation. "They're clearly advanced," James said, studying the images. "Look at their design. Those aren't exploration vessels." Emily felt a chill run down her spine. The ships had weapons, huge ones. Their hulls bristled with what looked like gun ports, and each one had massive cannon-like structures at the front. The military started arriving in larger numbers. General Rebecca Anderson herself flew in from Washington. She took one look at the images and ordered the station sealed. No information was to leave without her approval. "Dr. Parker," General Anderson said, "I need you to try to communicate with them." Emily and her team spent the next week sending out every kind of signal they could think of. They tried radio waves, laser pulses, and even old-fashioned Morse code. The aliens remained silent. Then, exactly 2 weeks after Emily's first discovery, the aliens made their first move. The station's sensors picked up a massive energy spike near Pluto. Everyone watched in horror as one of the alien ships fired a beam of intense light at Pluto's largest moon, Charon. The moon exploded. Chunks of rock and ice scattered across space. The aliens had destroyed a moon as easily as someone might break a window. "It's a message," Emily said, her voice shaking. "They're showing us what they can do." General Anderson immediately got on the phone to Washington. Within hours, every major military leader on Earth knew about the threat. The president called an emergency meeting of world leaders. As Emily watched more data pour in from their sensors, she knew humanity faced its greatest challenge. These aliens weren't here to make friends. They were here to conquer or destroy. But they had made one mistake. They had shown their weapons. Now Emily and her team could study how they worked. Maybe, just maybe, they could find a weakness. "James," she said, turning to her colleague, "get everyone back in here. We need to analyze every piece of data from that weapon discharge. The whole world's counting on us, whether they know it yet or not." The race to save Earth had begun. Colonel Michael Thompson stood in the dark control room of Space Command, watching the giant screen with growing concern. The footage from the Mars outpost played again and again. Each time, it showed the same terrible sight. The alien ships destroying Deimos, Mars' smaller moon, with a single blast of energy. "Play it again," he ordered. "Slow it down to half speed." The young officer at the controls, Lieutenant Rogers, nodded and reset the video. They watched as the alien weapon charged up, glowing with an eerie purple light before releasing its destructive beam. "Sir," Lieutenant Rogers said, "we've received reports from all our Mars bases. They're scared, but holding position." Thompson nodded. He understood their fear. The aliens had destroyed 2 moons now. First Pluto's Charon, and now Mars' Deimos. Each time, they moved closer to Earth. The door opened, and General Rebecca Anderson walked in. Everyone stood at attention. "At ease," she said. "Colonel Thompson, walk with me." They left the control room and headed down a long hallway. The underground military base was busy with activity. Soldiers and scientists rushed back and forth, carrying papers and equipment. "The president just finished an emergency meeting with world leaders," Anderson said. "For the first time in history, every country has agreed to work together. They're calling it the Earth Defense Coalition." "Better late than never," Thompson replied. "How long do we have?" Dr. Parker's team estimates 2 months before they reach Earth. Anderson stopped walking and turned to face him. "We intercepted a transmission from them an hour ago." She handed Thompson a tablet. On it was a simple message in English: "Surrender or face extinction. You have 60 days to decide." Thompson felt his stomach tighten. They can speak English. "They've been watching us for a long time," Anderson said. "This wasn't a random attack. They chose us as a target." They entered a large meeting room where maps and battle plans covered the walls. Officers from different countries sat around a long table, their faces showing worry and determination. "Listen up," Anderson announced. "The aliens have made their intentions clear. We have 2 months to prepare for the biggest fight in human history." She turned on a screen showing the Earth's defense systems. "We're combining all our military forces, every weapon, every soldier, every ship, everything we have goes into this fight." Thompson studied the defense plans. "What about the new plasma cannons?" "Dr. Lisa Reynolds is working on them now," Anderson replied. "She thinks she can modify them to match the alien weapon frequencies we observed." Just then, an alarm blared through the base. Red lights flashed in the hallways. "Report." Anderson barked into her radio. A scared voice came back. "General, they just destroyed our base on Europa. The whole moon base, gone in seconds." The room fell silent. Europa was Jupiter's moon, where humans had built their first outer solar system base. 300 people had lived there. Thompson grabbed the radio. "Any survivors?" "No, sir. They didn't have a chance." Anderson's face hardened. "They're showing us what happens if we resist, trying to break our spirit. But they don't understand humans very well," Thompson said. "This will only make us fight harder." Over the next few days, military bases around the world went into full action. Soldiers trained day and night. Scientists worked around the clock on new weapons. Spaceships that had once been exploration vessels were fitted with guns and armor. In the Nevada desert, Dr. Emily Parker's team made an important discovery. They found a pattern in the alien weapon systems, a split-second delay between charging and firing. "It's not much," she told Thompson over a video call, "but it's a weakness. If we can hit them at exactly the right moment, we might be able to damage their ships." Thompson looked at the calendar on his wall. 53 days left, less than 2 months to prepare for a fight that would decide if humanity lived or died. "Keep working," he told Parker. "Every little advantage helps. We're not giving up without a fight." As he ended the call, Thompson thought about the message from the aliens. They had given humanity a choice: surrender or die. But they had forgotten about the third option: Fight back. And that's exactly what humanity planned to do. Lieutenant David Cooper stood at the window of Lunar Base Alpha, watching Earth shine bright and blue in the black sky. His hands gripped the railing tight as the alarm sirens began to wail. The moment everyone feared had arrived. The aliens, who called themselves the Dominion, had entered the moon's orbit. All personnel to battle stations. Cooper's voice boomed through the base's speakers. This is not a drill. I repeat, this is not a drill. Men and women rushed to their posts. In the command center, Cooper watched as 12 massive Dominion ships appeared on the radar. They were bigger up close than anyone had imagined, each one nearly the size of a small city. Weapons ready, sir, called out Lieutenant Mary Wilson from her station. All defense systems online. Cooper nodded. They had spent weeks preparing for this moment. The lunar base now bristled with hidden weapons and shields, all powered by Earth's newest technology. Here they come, someone whispered. The first alien ship fired at one of Earth's smaller outposts near the moon's north pole. The blast lit up the lunar sky like a second sun. But this time, something was different. This time, humanity was ready. Now, Cooper ordered, hit them while their weapons are charging. Earth's defense fleet, hidden behind the moon, burst into action. 50 ships, the best humanity had built, attacked the alien vessel that had just fired. They struck at the exact moment Dr. Parker had discovered, when the alien ship's shields were weakest. The explosion rocked the lunar surface. For the first time since they entered our solar system, a Dominion ship had been destroyed. We got one, Wilson shouted. Cheers filled the command center, but Cooper quickly silenced them. Stay focused. There are still 11 more. The Dominion ships changed formation. They seemed shocked that their prey could fight back. 2 more alien ships moved forward, their weapons glowing with that familiar purple light. They're targeting the base, Cooper warned. All crews, brace for impact. The blast hit their shields hard. The whole base shook, but the shields held. Another discovery by Dr. Reynolds had worked. The new shield design could withstand a direct hit. Cooper grabbed his radio. All ships, attack pattern Delta. Remember your training. Earth's fleet split into smaller groups, just as they had practiced. Each group targeted a different alien ship, looking for that crucial moment when the enemy's weapons were charging. The space around the moon turned into a battlefield. Laser fire and explosions lit up the dark side of the moon. Cooper watched as humanity scored its second kill of the day. Another alien ship burst into flames, but the victory came at a cost. The Dominion's return fire destroyed 15 Earth ships. Each loss felt like a punch to Cooper's gut. He knew many of those crews personally. Sir, Wilson called out, 3 alien ships are breaking off. They're heading toward Earth. Cooper made a quick decision. Launch the satellites. Hundreds of small satellites, hidden in craters across the moon's surface, sprang to life. They formed a net between the moon and Earth, each one carrying a powerful weapon designed by Dr. Reynolds' team. The alien ships ran straight into the trap. The satellites fired together, their combined power overwhelming the Dominion's shields. The third alien ship exploded. The remaining Dominion ships pulled back, retreating to a safe distance. For the first time, they had met an enemy who could hurt them. Status report, Cooper demanded. We've lost 23 ships total, Wilson replied, her voice sad but steady. The base shields are at 40%, but holding. 3 enemy ships confirmed destroyed. Cooper looked at Earth again through the window. The blue planet still shone peacefully, protected for now by the sacrifice of brave men and women. He picked up his radio one last time. This is Lunar Base Alpha to Earth Command. First wave repelled. The Dominion is not invincible. I repeat, they can be beaten. The reply came from General Anderson herself. Well done, Lieutenant Cooper. But this is just the beginning. They'll be back, and next time they'll be ready for our tricks. Cooper knew she was right. They had won their first battle, But the war was far from over. Still, they had proven something important today. Humanity could fight back. And they would keep fighting, no matter what came next. All stations, he announced, begin repairs and prepare for the next wave. Today we proved we can hurt them. Tomorrow, we'll prove we can win. Dr. Lisa Reynolds wiped sweat from her forehead as she studied the piece of alien technology in front of her. The metal fragment came from the Dominion ship destroyed in the lunar battle. Her underground lab in Colorado was filled with similar pieces, each one holding secrets that might save Earth. Run the test again, she told her team. The large machine humming in the corner sent waves of energy into the alien metal. This was their 15th test today, and everyone was tired. "Doctor, look at this," called Bill Taylor, one of her younger scientists. He pointed to his computer screen where strange patterns appeared. "The shield matrix is changing." Lisa rushed over. After weeks of failed tests, they finally had something new. The alien metal was reacting differently to their energy pulses. "Get me Captain Wright on the phone," she said. "He needs to see this." 20 minutes later, Captain Thomas Wright walked into the lab. He had been training pilots to fight the Dominion, and his uniform still showed signs of the morning's practice runs. "This better be good, Dr. Reynolds," he said. "My pilots need all the practice they can get." Lisa pointed to the alien metal. "Watch this." She pressed a button, and a blue beam hit the metal. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the metal surface began to ripple like water. "The Dominion's shields aren't just energy barriers," Lisa explained. "They're more like living metal. They adapt to attacks. That's why our weapons stopped working after the first battle." "So how does this help us?" Wright asked. Lisa smiled. "Because now we know how to make them stop adapting." She pressed another button, and the metal suddenly turned dull and lifeless. "We can freeze their shield matrix. Make it brittle, breakable." Wright's eyes widened. "You mean we can shut down their shields?" "Better than that," Lisa said. "We can shatter them." Over the next few days, the lab worked around the clock to build the first prototype. They called it the Phoenix device, a weapon that could turn the Dominion's greatest defense into a weakness. In a test chamber deep underground, they set up a piece of alien hull with its shields active. Lisa and Wright watched from behind thick glass as they fired the Phoenix device. The shield protecting the alien metal flickered, turned gray, and then cracked like broken glass. The whole process took less than 5 seconds. "How many of these can you make?" Wright asked. "With help from factories around the world, maybe 100 in 2 weeks, Lisa replied. "But we'll need to get very close to the Dominion ships for them to work." Wright nodded. "I have some pilots who can do that. They're crazy enough to try anything." That afternoon, they presented their findings to General Anderson through a secure video call. The general's face showed hope for the first time in weeks. "Dr. Reynolds, you've given us a chance," Anderson said. "But the Dominion is getting smarter too. They've changed their attack patterns since we destroyed those 3 ships." "Then we'll change with them," Lisa said firmly. "Every piece of their technology we study teaches us something new." The meeting was interrupted by an alarm. On screens across the base, they saw 5 Dominion ships attacking Mars colonies. The aliens had changed their weapons, making them even more powerful. "They're learning from us too," Wright said quietly. Lisa watched the destruction on Mars with determination in her eyes. "Then we'll just have to learn faster." She turned to her team. "Everyone back to work. We have 2 weeks to build these devices and get them to our ships." The lab burst into action again. Scientists and engineers worked in shifts, sleeping on cots between their work hours. Every minute counted. Late one night, as Lisa checked the production line, Wright found her drinking coffee in her office. "My pilots finished their first practice run with the prototype," he said. "It's not easy getting close enough to use it, but they're getting better." "Will they be ready?" Lisa asked. Wright smiled. "Doc, after what I saw today, I almost feel sorry for the Dominion." Almost. Lissa looked at the calendar on her wall. The aliens' deadline was getting closer, but now humanity had a secret weapon. The question was, would it be enough? "We'll be ready," she said, more to herself than to Wright. "We have to be." Squadron leader Jennifer Hayes gripped her fighter's controls as she watched the Dominion ships appear over Washington, D.C. The morning sky turned dark as 8 massive alien vessels blocked out the sun. This was it, their first attack on Earth itself. "All squadrons, report in," she ordered, her voice steady despite her racing heart. "Red Squadron, ready. Blue Squadron, standing by. Green Squadron, in position." 40 of Earth's best pilots waited in their hidden positions. Their new fighters carried Dr. Reynolds' Phoenix devices, but they would only get one chance to use them. Engineer Robert Wilson's voice came through the radio from his underground command center. "Hidden defense grid is powered up and ready. Remember the plan. Wait until they're fully committed to the attack." Jennifer watched as the first Dominion ship charged its main weapon. They were aiming for the White House. Just as Dr. Parker had predicted, the aliens wanted to destroy Earth's symbols of power first. "Steady," Jennifer told her pilots. "Wait for it." The alien ship fired, but instead of destruction, something amazing happened. The beam hit an invisible shield and split into thousands of harmless light rays. Wilson's secret defense grid worked perfectly. The Dominion ships paused, clearly surprised. That was their first mistake. "Now," Jennifer shouted, "all squadrons, attack pattern Delta." Earth's fighters rose from their hiding places, some from behind buildings, others from underground bunkers, and more from fake cloud cover. They swarmed toward the alien ships like angry bees. "Remember your training," Jennifer called as she led Red Squadron toward the largest enemy ship. "Get close, stay in their blind spots, and wait for their weapons to charge." The sky over Washington turned into a battlefield. Alien energy beams crossed paths with human lasers. Fighters dodged and weaved between massive enemy ships, looking for their chance to use the Phoenix devices. "Blue 3, you've got one on your tail," Jennifer warned. "I see it." A pilot spun his ship in a tight roll, using the buildings for cover. The alien fighter chasing him crashed into Wilson's invisible shield. Jennifer's squadron reached their target. The Dominion command ship. It was bigger than the others, with more weapons, but also more blind spots. "Red Squadron, form up on me," she ordered. "Ready your Phoenix devices." They swooped in close to the massive ship's hull. Alien fighters tried to stop them, but Earth's pilots had trained for this. They were smaller, faster, and more determined. "Wait for it," Jennifer said, watching the ship's main weapon begin to glow. "Wait." The purple light grew brighter. The ship was about to fire. Now, all 10 fighters in Red Squadron fired their Phoenix devices at once. Blue beams hit the alien shield. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the shield turned gray and shattered like broken glass. "Direct hit," Jennifer shouted. "All fighters, concentrate fire on their exposed hull." Hundreds of missiles struck the Dominion ship. Without its shields, it was vulnerable. Explosions rippled across its surface. The massive ship began to fall. It crashed into the Potomac River, sending up huge waves but avoiding the city itself. Washington, D.C. was saved. The other Dominion ships started to pull back, but Earth's defenders weren't finished. 2 more ships lost their shields to Phoenix devices. One exploded in the air, while another crashed into the Atlantic Ocean. 3 enemy ships destroyed. Wilson reported from below. "The others are retreating." Cheers filled the radio channel. Humanity had won its first battle on Earth itself. Jennifer led her squadron back to base. They had lost 12 pilots, good men and women who died protecting their home. But they had proved something important. Earth could defend itself. In the command center, General Anderson was already planning their next move. "The Dominion will be back," she said, "and they'll try to find a way around the Phoenix device. But now, they know we can hurt them, really hurt them. Jennifer looked at the radar screen showing the retreating alien ships. "Let them come back," she said. "We'll be ready." That night, as cleanup crews dealt with the crashed alien ships, news spread around the world. Humanity hadn't just survived the first attack on Earth. They had won decisively. Hope began to replace fear in people's hearts. The Dominion had made a serious mistake. They thought humans would be easy to defeat. Now they were learning just how wrong they were. Admiral William Baker stood on the bridge of the U.S. Defiant, Earth's newest and largest battleship. Through the massive window, he watched hundreds of human ships gather in orbit. This was humanity's entire space fleet, everything they had left. "All ships report ready, sir," Commander Ashley Martinez said from her station. "The Phoenix devices are installed and tested." Baker nodded. After weeks of planning, Operation Thunderstrike was about to begin. For the first time since the war started, Earth's forces would attack the Dominion instead of defending. "Put Dr. Reynolds on screen," he ordered. Lisa Reynolds appeared on the main display. She looked tired but determined. "Admiral, the new Phoenix devices are 3 times stronger than the old ones, but the Dominion has probably updated their shields too." "We understand the risks, Doctor," Baker said. "Is the quantum destabilizer ready?" "Yes, sir. If we can get it close enough to their flagship, it should work." The quantum destabilizer was their secret weapon, a more powerful version of the Phoenix device that could take down multiple ships at once. But they only had one, and it had never been tested in battle. "Commander Martinez, signal all ships," Baker ordered. "Operation Thunderstrike begins now." The Earth fleet jumped to light speed. Dr. Parker's team had found the Dominion's main fleet hiding behind Mars. The aliens were preparing for another attack, but humanity would strike first. When they came out of light speed, the scene was incredible. 30 Dominion ships, including their massive flagship, floated in space before them. "They're surprised to see us," Martinez said with a smile. "Their weapons aren't even charged." Baker grabbed the fleet-wide comm. "All ships, attack pattern Omega. Remember your training. Hit them hard, hit them fast." Earth's fleet split into 3 groups. Baker led the main force straight at the Dominion center. Fighter squadrons led by Jennifer Hayes attacked from above. The 3rd group, carrying the quantum destabilizer, swung around behind Mars. The space between Mars and the asteroid belt exploded with light as both sides opened fire. The Dominion recovered quickly from their surprise, but Earth's ships were already too close. "First wave, fire Phoenix devices," Baker ordered. Blue beams shot out from Earth's ships. Some missed as the Dominion vessels tried to dodge, but many found their targets. 6 alien ships lost their shields in the first minute. "Direct hits," Martinez reported. "Enemy ships are vulnerable." But the Dominion had learned from their defeats. Their flagship released some kind of energy pulse that restored the fallen shields. "They've adapted," Reynolds said through the comm. "The basic Phoenix devices won't work anymore." Baker had expected this. "Begin Phase 2. All ships, clear a path to their flagship." Earth's fleet formed a giant arrow shape, with the Defiant at its point. They pushed forward, taking heavy fire, but giving back just as much. "We've lost 15 ships," Martinez reported, "but we're getting closer to their flagship." The Dominion flagship was enormous, almost twice the size of their normal ships. It fired weapon after weapon at Earth's fleet, but couldn't stop their advance. "Third group, are you in position?" Baker asked. "Yes, sir." The ships carrying the quantum destabilizer had sneaked behind the Dominion fleet while they were distracted. "Fire the quantum destabilizer. Now." A massive blue wave shot out from the human ships, washing over the Dominion fleet from behind. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then every alien shield began to flicker and die. "All ships, open fire," Baker ordered. "Everything you've got." Hundreds of human weapons struck the defenseless Dominion ships. Explosions lit up space like new stars being born. The alien flagship tried to retreat, but it was too late. "Sir, their fleet is in chaos," Martinez said. "Their command structure is falling apart." Baker watched as the mighty Dominion fleet broke apart. Some ships exploded. Others crashed into each other trying to escape. The flagship itself took heavy damage, but managed to limp away with a few other survivors. When the battle ended, 17 Dominion ships had been destroyed. It was their biggest defeat ever. "Send word to Earth," Baker ordered. "Operation Thunderstrike successful. The Dominion fleet is crushed." Cheers filled every ship in the human fleet. They had done more than win a battle. They had shown the Dominion that humanity could beat them at their own game. But Baker knew the war wasn't over. The Dominion's Supreme Command would be angry. They would return with everything they had left. The final battle was still to come. Colonel Michael Thompson watched the massive screen in Earth Command as red dots appeared near Jupiter. The Dominion's Supreme Command had arrived with their entire remaining fleet, 40 ships, including 5 Supreme Command vessels larger than anything they'd seen before. "They're angry," Dr. Emily Parker said, standing beside him. "They've never lost a war before. Now they're bringing everything they have." Thompson nodded. "Then we'll give them everything we have too." Earth's defenses were ready. Every ship, every weapon, and every soldier stood prepared for the final battle. They had one advantage. Dr. Parker's team had finally cracked the aliens' command codes. "Supreme Command vessels have to stay in contact with each other," she explained. "If we can cut that connection, their whole fleet will fall apart." General Anderson's voice came over the speakers. "All forces, battle stations. This is what we've trained for. Humanity stands together." The Dominion fleet moved faster than expected. They ignored Jupiter's moons, focused only on reaching Earth. Their weapons charged as they approached Mars. "They're not stopping to fight this time," Thompson said. "They're heading straight for us." Lieutenant Cooper's voice came from the lunar base. "Moon defense stations ready, sir. All weapons charge." Squadron Leader Hayes reported next. "Fighter squadrons in position, ready to launch on your command." Admiral Baker's fleet waited behind Earth's moon, hidden from the enemy sensors. "Fleet is ready. The quantum destabilizer is charged and targeting systems are locked." Thompson took a deep breath. "Begin Operation Final Stand." The battle started when the Dominion crossed Mars' orbit. Earth's planetary defense grid fired first. Thousands of energy beams shooting from hidden bases on Mars, the Moon, and Earth itself. The Dominion ships powered through the attack, losing 3 vessels but maintaining their formation. Their return fire was devastating, destroying several defense platforms. "Launch all fighters," Thompson ordered. Jennifer Hayes led hundreds of Earth's fighters into space. They swarmed around the alien ships like angry bees, firing Phoenix devices and dodging enemy fire. "Admiral Baker, commence attack," Thompson commanded. Earth's fleet appeared from behind the moon, catching the Dominion ships between 2 forces. The space around Earth lit up with weapons fire from both sides. "Sir," Dr. Parker called out, "look at their formation." The 5 Supreme Command ships had formed a pentagon shape, energy beams connecting them to each other. Their combined power was incredible. "That's their weakness," Thompson realized. "Target those energy beams. All ships focus fire." Earth's forces attacked the connection points between the Supreme Command ships. The Dominion's defensive fire was fierce, destroying many human ships, but they couldn't protect everywhere at once. Lieutenant David Cooper, watching from the moon, saw his chance. "Sir, request permission for a direct attack run." "Denied," Thompson said. "It's suicide." "Sir, my ship is already damaged," Cooper replied calmly. "Let me make it count." Thompson closed his eyes for a moment. "Permission granted." "Good luck, Lieutenant." Cooper's ship, trailing fire from earlier damage, flew straight at the weakest connection point between 2 Supreme Command ships. Enemy fire followed him. but he dodged with incredible skill. "For Earth," he shouted, and activated his ship's self-destruct sequence. The explosion was massive. Cooper's sacrifice broke the energy connection between the Supreme Command ships. Their pentagon formation fell apart. "Now," Thompson ordered, "hit them with everything." Admiral Baker's fleet fired their quantum destabilizer. Dr. Reynolds' newest version worked perfectly. Every Dominion shield failed at once. Earth's fighters and ships attacked together, their weapons finding weak points in the alien vessels. One by one, the Supreme Command ships began to explode. The remaining Dominion ships tried to retreat, but Earth's forces had surrounded them. The battle ended in less than an hour. When the last explosion faded, silence filled the command center. Then cheers erupted as people realized what had happened. They had won. Humanity had beaten the unbeatable enemy. Days later, Thompson stood with Dr. Parker, watching Earth's ships return home. The cost had been high. Thousands of brave people had died, including Cooper and many others. But Earth was safe. "What do you think they learned from this?" Parker asked. Thompson looked at the peaceful Earth below them. "That humans don't give up. That we fight harder when things seem hopeless, and that they should never, ever threaten our home." As cleanup ships gathered the remains of the Dominion fleet, humans around the world celebrated. They had faced destruction and struck back with relentless fury. More importantly, they had done it together. Humanity had changed forever. They were no longer just inhabitants of Earth. They were defenders of their world, united and strong. The stars themselves would remember the day humans proved they would not go quietly into the night.